The Spotlight, shining a light on podcasts and videos that have caught our attention.
Hi and welcome to The Spotlight. I'm Jen Spiker and today I'm highlighting a brand new podcast series that's been added to the Vision app. Sunburnt Souls is hosted by Ps Dave Quak, who speaks to a different guest on each episode. In this recent episode of the podcast, Dave is interviewing Zac Morrison, exploring his journey with anxiety and how his newfound intimacy with Jesus has caused a noticeable change in his life, including his mental health.
The Spotlight with Jen Spiker.
I'm encouraged at the fact that you do carry significant anxiety and you're still able to manage it without medication, because there'll be people listening who are on both sides. Some who take, some who do not, some who believe in it, some who don't, some are still just in that area of figuring it out. And so it's nice to talk to someone who's not medicated, still sometimes anxious, but still existing.
Because I even even if I have headaches and stuff, I try and push it out until it's unbearable to take Panadols and things like that.
Yeah.
So I'm just not really like a...
Yeah, so it's not your normal format.
Yeah, it's not my normal way of going. So I always try to do something before that.
Okay, that's cool.
I was just lucky enough that I found a good person.
Well, I mean, I think luck's one way to put it, but I also think there's just been some divine intervention happening in your world. Even,
oh yeah,
you can just, sometimes theologians call it like the scarlet thread, like the thread of Jesus through your life and him, in your life before you even recognize it.
Yeah.
The fact you went to youth and that just because your friends liked it or there was a skate bowl or whatever, it's him.
Yeah, because I always really enjoyed the youth.
Yeah.
Like I started going because I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I think I've told you before, it's just the pressure that pushed me away, probably because of anxious feelings as well, I guess, with that sort of stuff.
Yeah. And okay, so with the shutting down, do you now still find or are tempted by just withdrawing from the world when the pressure's on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do about that? Because you mentioned earlier you've got 2 biological children. Ash has 3. There's 5 kids plus you 2. Archer's got his special needs, which, make things even more complicated. He's a delightful lad, but extra attention needed. How do you not withdraw? What's the strategy for anyone who's about to book a ticket to a deserted island? Because I remember I thought about that movie Castaway, and everyone used to see that as a survival movie. I see it as a fantasy movie. I'm like, oh yeah, bring that on, brother. He's on the island by himself, no one to annoy him.
He's got a good mate.
He's got a good mate. Go fishing, hang on the beach. What do you do to overcome that temptation and withdraw?
Faith has made a massive impact as well.
Tell me how.
When you I don't know, but me, when I internalize everything, I find it really hard to express how I feel with words, obviously. And I feel it's going to muck it up. I don't know how to bring it up. I don't know how to talk about it. But when being able to pray about it.
Okay.
So I've had to be even reminded by Ash a few times, you're a different person now. You don't need to, you can lean on God for these things and you can talk to him and you don't have to build up that courage and say it out loud. You've got someone to talk to.
Cool.
And that has been a massive help when it comes to shutting down and internalizing and actually being able to come out of that without, because being aware of it, being able to manage it's fine, but stopping it is really hard. Yeah. And I find that when I kind of turn to God in those moments is when I can kind of stop it.
I love that.
Yeah. So I think we were talking about before with the shoulder, having the panic attacks and the MRI. So I had 2 muscle tears in my left shoulder recently, and I had to go get another MRI. And I'd come back from the doctors and I just freaked out and panicked and thought, I'm going back to the MRI. I'm gonna have a panic attack again. I'm stressed. I was just completely gone, and I'd just been right back there where I was having panic attacks. My shoulder was sore. This was all happening. Yeah. And then I sat down, and then Ash just sat me down and was just like, look, how we're going to deal with this. I'm going to get on. I'm going to message. Can I jump on our Facebook group chats with all the our life groups and things and get them to pray for you? And she's just like, like I said before, you're a different person.
Yeah.
You're not the same person you were then. And you have tools to use now to help you get through this. And it was just that real shock moment of like, I'm not that person. And and I went from like completely shutting down, like panicked and stressed. And then I went to, I went in to the MRI. She came with me. I went in by myself. Last time my mum actually came in with me and was there like, hey, I'm here, like touching my leg, like you're here, I'm here. And I had to smile my way through it and I had to fake it till I made it, like to get through that MRI. I was just like, a tear down my eye, just like trying to hold still. And, but this time I had to go in by myself. And then I was like, and then I got on there. I lay there for the 20 minutes. I think it was 25 minutes and just did it. And it was a completely different experience. I had no panic attacks. I didn't feel claustrophobic and I had turned to God for that. Yeah. And I had prayed about it and I prayed through it. Yeah. And when I was starting to feel a bit anxious in there, I prayed about it and it just went away.
Oh man. And Zac, that's the power of the resurrection, isn't it, mate? Like, so, we were one thing and now we're not anymore. Yeah. We're dead. Now you're alive. Yeah. You can still withdraw, but to prayer or to God or something. Yeah. It's a different way. It's like solitude's not loneliness. Solitude's time with God. Yeah. Loneliness is time by yourself. Yeah. So it looks the same from the outside. You see one person sitting by themselves. You can think, okay, that person is alone, but they can be completely satisfied in Christ alone and look exactly the same externally. Yeah.
I used to really struggle with being like after my separation, I used to struggle with being alone. Yeah. Because I'd obviously been in a household with kids and stuff since I was like 18 years old. Yeah. So, and then all of a sudden I'm by myself and I struggled with that a lot and I was really antsy and I was not able to sit still and I was just like always having to do something, having to go out and do something. Couldn't even sit down to watch a TV show because I'd just be like, I gotta get up, gotta move. Yeah. Like, and then now I can delight in being alone.
Yes. Yes. And that's all, that has to be the Holy Spirit. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because you're not alone. Yeah. It's amazing. Transformation happens at such a deep level. I love as well how you're saying, you could notice a tangible difference between last time and this time, and even when you're in there and feeling a bit anxious, straight to God and got through. Like that's actually a miracle. Sometimes we don't recognize the miracles we might consider small. Yeah. But like you got set free from something that is really horrifying. Yeah. Like I don't have claustrophobia. But I have had an MRI and I can imagine it's hell for people who do have claustrophobia. It's freaky in there and it's loud, man, and it is stuck and you don't feel like if you had to get out, you could. Yeah. It's like, man, this is like a metal hole. Yeah. And I had these weighted things on my shoulder, which was in pain. So I'm feeling the pain. I'm feeling like it's going to dislocate. Yeah. I'm panicked because I feel like I'm stuck. Anxiety is just such a complex topic. Does your anxiety ever lead you to places of depression for extended periods of time or anything? Or
I feel like it can trigger me being down a lot, but I don't ever feel depressed. Okay. Like so I don't ever feel like, life's terrible or, you know what I mean? Like I just kind of go like, I'm sad.
Okay. So the wind gets taken out of your sails, but you wouldn't classify it as depression.
No, I just feel down. Like every now and then I'll just feel down. Yeah. And I feel like it's triggered in some way. Yeah. But I'm still learning and still growing through this. So it's a bit hard to, that's probably like my next step of, self-improvement is to just be aware of the down moments and understanding.
Yeah. Figure out what's
when you're down, you're just like, I'm down. Yeah. That's just, that's me. Yeah. That's like I've been down for so long. That's what happens, Yeah,
that's it. And that is an important thing. We've got to make sure we always reiterate on this show is that being down and being depressed aren't necessarily always the same thing. Yeah. But then, sometimes they are, so we don't want to dismiss them or enable each, I guess. What's going on lately? Where are you at now with your faith?
Yeah. So after it's been, I think, 3 years now since I've been in the church.
Yep.
I think this is the third year. Last year I decided to get baptized.
Oh, nice.
And was lucky enough to have it happen on our weekend camp, where I was able to go out into like the public and get it in the ocean where everyone around, which was really cool. And
nice and bold. I mean,
lots of people
especially,
too.
bro, for someone who was tempted by withdrawal to get baptized in public at the beach at Burleigh where there's hundreds of people.
Yeah. Being the center of attention was so would drive me insane.
Yeah.
Like, I think from having that, I don't like birthdays. I don't like being the center of attention. I don't like celebrating it. Like, it just is too much.
Yeah.
And having everyone just like do stuff just for me is hard. But like, yeah, I don't even like that stuff. So like being able to last year, like come into that where I had to speak in front of everyone as well, which would have absolutely crippled me.
Yeah.
3 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to stand in front of a group of people and share my story. I would have just been blank the whole time.
And
I just would have got up and been like, I don't know what to say. Because even in the therapy room, when the lady was like, all right, cool. Can you just say something to me? Like that you've prepared or something like that? Because I think at the time I was doing, my wife and I were getting married, and she's like, and I'm like, I have to speak in front of all these people. I've got to say my vows. And she's like, well, just read them to me. You've got some in your notes. You can read some of it to me. And I just stood there and just went,
yeah. Okay.
No, can't do it. I couldn't even read in front or one-on-one in front of someone. So being able to get up and actually speak to a whole room of people was awesome. And
that's awesome, man.
Yeah, and I just did it without writing anything down.
You just went for it?
I just went for
Preach
it off the top of my head, which was like the same thing. Not being prepared would have absolutely floored me. But when after being baptized, it's just, I had this washed over feeling of like things just washing away. And just, after that, the majority of my general anxiety just went away.
Yeah.
I remember the week after, like getting up at church and saying anything would have, same thing, floored me, crippled me. And I just had this non-anxious moment of like, I'm going to get up and say something.
Yes.
Which in my head wouldn't even pop in my head.
Yeah, that would never have been
even been a thing. It's like, be quiet, sit down. No one wants to hear you. And that moment of like, oh, and then I remember coming to you after and just being like, hey, I nearly said something.
Yeah.
But it was, that was really awesome. And that's carried.
On the Spotlight, we've been listening to part of Zac Morrison's story from a recent episode of Sunburnt Souls. You can listen to this full interview by tapping the podcast tab and searching for Sunburnt Souls. This episode with Zac is titled Tattoos, Anxiety and Intimacy with Jesus. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss new episodes when they're added each week. If you have a favourite podcast or video series that you'd like to hear featured on the Spotlight, click contact us at vision.org.au and share the link. My name is Jen Spiker. Join me next time as I share another podcast or video that deserves highlighting.
For more great podcasts and videos like the one featured today, check out vision.org.au or the free Vision app.